Quite a few of the Eat Better, Feel Better members have signed up for this as well. So if you're an Eat Better, Feel Better member and you're watching the live, then do say hello. That'd be nice to have some members on here saying hello and interacting, because you guys know me well and know what we're talking about today. You guys are so prompt. Thank you. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. I'm gonna give it another 10, 15 seconds, let everybody get on. It sometimes takes a bit of time. Oh, hello, got a face. Hi. It's so lovely because actually about 83 people have signed up for the reset today. So I'm really delighted to hopefully some more people will come on and join the live. And it's lovely because there's a few members on from the Eat Better Feel Better membership, which is lovely to have them on. But it's also lovely because there's so many new names and new faces, so that's great as well. So welcome. I'm really excited to have you here. I think I'm going to crack on and let everybody arrive because I've got a little introduction, a little hello to do anyway. So hopefully people will start coming on and they can catch that. Please use the chat. You're welcome to come on the chat, say hello, maybe say where you are. I'm in Northwest London, Hertfordshire. So if anybody is from somewhere far away, let me know. I think somebody told me their friend from Australia has joined the reset. So probably the wrong time of day in Australia for her to join the live, but it's really lovely that we've got people from all over, which is very, very exciting. So welcome, I'm going to start. As you probably know, when you came into the meeting, this is being recorded so that everybody else can catch up on the recording later, those that can't make it at 12 o'clock. Make sure you've printed out your workbook. You should have your workbook and some pen and some paper ready, or obviously you can go and do that later if you want to as well. Really lovely to have you all. Please don't leave me sitting on my own. Please say hello. Please be involved in the chat. Give me a wave. Feel free to ask a question. Jo is here. Jo, do you want to give a wave? That's Jo. So she's helping me out. She's a really great member of the membership, and she helped me out and all the admin. So she's going to be monitoring the chat. So if anyone's got a question, put it on there. If Jo can answer it for you, she will. And then if it's something a bit more nutrition based, and then she'll pass it on to me. But Jo's also a wellness expert, and so she can also answer a lot of questions. And please do be active, say hello, comment, and also comment in the Facebook group as well, because if you want to make changes, if you want to like reset and you want to make progress and make changes, the only way you're going to do that is if you show up for yourself. And so I am going to make you come out of your comfort zone. I'm going to make you show up. I want you to talk and be active in the Zooms, especially if you can turn up live. I want you to comment in the Facebook group. If you make a recipe from this week, share it in the, share a photo, let us see your wonderful cookery talents. If you've got a question, if something resonated that we talked about in the Zoom, share it. If you've completed one of your workbook pages, take a shot of it and share that in the Facebook group. It'd be lovely if we can all kind of create this community feel together. The Eat Better, Feel Better community is a really lovely community, and I want all the new people to feel part of it straight away as well. So on that basis, I have got 3 prizes for you this week, which will be announced the winners on Friday. But the prizes are a free 1-hour consultation with me, where you'll get a personalized plan. The second prize is a year's free membership to Eat Better, Feel Better, and which I'll talk about more in the week. And the third prize is a voucher for supplements. So there's some really lovely prizes, genuine value there. So please do get engaged. Right, okay, I'm going to crack on. Every day the live is, I'm trying to keep it to about 20 to 30 minutes because I know everybody's really busy, but I also do like talking. So I will try and follow the time schedule. But if you join and then catch up the rest of it on the recording if you need to. Every day I'm going to cover sort of a practical side to nutrition and wellness, as you've seen on the agenda. And then the second half, I'm going to be talking about a specific meal in the day, because I think sometimes it's just nice to kind of have a real hone in on a particular meal of the day, like breakfast and lunch, and work out how we're going to eat at those particular times, because I think that's where, we get sort of a bit overwhelmed sometimes. So I thought it'd be really nice to break that down over the course of the week. So as you probably know, today we're looking at mindset to get us all started, and then I'm going to be talking about breakfast. So why am I talking about mindset first? I think it's because, in my view, if you're somebody that's looking for like a cookie cutter, 1,500 calorie a day, which rigid diet. This is like eat this, eat this, eat this, and that there's no deviation, there's no flexibility, there's no understanding of your individual nutritional need, what you're doing with your body, then yeah, you might lose a bit of weight, but this isn't really for you. Then this place, Eat Better, Feel Better, is not really for you, because I want you to understand about nutrition and wellness. I want to take you on a journey so that you're learning how to eat, how to nourish your body, how to support your body. You know, this is about maintaining a healthy weight. This is about maintaining blood sugar balance, reducing inflammation. It's about balancing your hormones. You know, looking at the people that signed up, quite a lot of us are sort of coming into that perimenopause stage, or in menopause, or even post-menopause, and hormones are all over the place. So it's really about understanding your body. It's much more holistic. It's about really creating that healthy wellness journey that we can all go on together. So I really hope that you guys can really engage with that and enjoy it. So we will talk about mindset now. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Anyone want to say anything? No? Okay. Right, okay, so when we're setting goals, okay, because mindset is all about understanding our goals and what we want to achieve. A lot of the reasons why a lot of the time we fail in this journey is because we are not specific enough in what our goals are, what our mindset is, what we're actually doing, what we're trying to achieve. And when you're a bit vague, like, oh, I just want to lose a bit of weight, or oh, I just want to feel a bit better, they're very valid goals, but they're not specific enough to keep your brain engaged. So we really want to make sure that we're really honed in on why we're doing this and what we're trying to achieve and what is important to us on this wellness journey. And so that's why we've got the 3 little avatars today that we're going to work through in the workbook, so that we can really understand where we are, where we'll be if we don't make any changes, and where we really can get to if we do make those changes. And that final picture, that is the one that you need to hold on to in your head, you know, stick it on the fridge. This is where you want to be, those positive reinforcements. So rather than thinking about like negativity things, we want to be focusing on the positive and staying really engaged. So I think that that's really the best place to start this week on the reset. You know, we'll all come back from the summer holidays. You know, a lot of us have got kids that have gone back to school today. The routine has been completely out the window for a few weeks, and now it's time to kind of regroup, get the mind back engaged, and really think about what our goals are, what we're trying to achieve. So what I want you to think about is what is motivating you. You know, something motivated you guys to sign up for the reset this week, and something in what I posted really resonated with you, and you thought, yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to do that, you know, in September to kickstart getting everything back on track after the summer. So maybe share in the chat, you know, what resonated with you. What is it that you're trying to achieve this week out of the reset? You know, we've got 5 days to work together. So let me know in the chat, what is your, you know, at the moment, what's your goal? What's resonating? What are you excited to kind of make change for in your routine, in your diet, in your lifestyle? We've all got different ones, and it's actually, when you start to share them, you realize that everybody's got something slightly different. And, you know, maybe it's someone who's struggling with hot flushes and not sleeping well. Maybe it's someone that's got chronic IBS and hasn't been able to resolve that. Maybe it's someone who is always struggling, you know, can't get rid of that little bit of belly fat, or, you know, can't kick the sugar addict. You know, there's always different things. So it's really nice if you can share what your goal is, because I'm sure your goal, someone else go, oh yeah, I want to do that as well. So it's lovely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing. I'm going to look forward to reading through them all later, and I will be commenting as well and sharing my thoughts and feedback. Okay, so motivation. Motivation comes from 2 different parts. So we've got our extrinsic motivation and our intrinsic motivation. So what do I mean by that? So extrinsic is things like, oh, I want to lose weight, oh, I want to look good in that dress, oh, I want to, you know, have lovely skin, whatever it may be. But when you start thinking about the intrinsic motivation, they're what is really going to speak to your subconscious. They're what's really going to motivate and drive you inside to really stay on this journey and to follow it through. So those are going to be things like, I really want to to, you know, maybe you've seen older parents suffer with things like dementia. I really want to protect my brain health. I really want to preserve that. I really want to age well. Maybe you're someone that has been diagnosed with insulin resistance, you know, raised blood sugar, and you're thinking, I really don't want to go on metformin. I really don't want to end up a diabetic. Or maybe you're somebody that's got some kind of autoimmune condition and you're always like in pain and you achy joints and things like that, and you're thinking, I really don't want to be spending the rest of my life in pain. So everyone's going to have a slight different reason, but those intrinsic reasons are what is going to really drive you and to make you able to sort of stick it out, you know, when it's a little bit tough, when there's donuts and, you know, wine going around the table, and, you know, you're thinking, oh, you know, that is what is going to help you to stay focused on your goals. So that, I think, is really quite important that we do that. And so this is why we've got the worksheets here. So we have got, I've got to clack on so I know. So the first page is me today. You're very welcome to draw, if you're artistic, you can draw your own little avatar version of yourself. I'm not artistic, so I've used Canva, but you're very welcome to jazz it up however you want, you know, colour it in, whatever you want to do. But basically what you want to do is you want to write around here where you are today. So maybe you're thinking, oh, you know, I'm really tired, I've got no energy. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, I just look in the mirror and my face looks like puffy and I don't look healthy, I don't look vibrant. Maybe, you know, you're too tired to have like a healthy relationship with your partner, and, you know, things like that are sliding because you just don't have the energy and you don't have the oomph anymore. You know, the hormones are all over the place. Maybe it's work-life balance that you're struggling with. Maybe you just feel like you don't have time for some self-care for yourself. Maybe it's weight, you know, obviously a lot of us do, you know, weight comes up a lot in clinic. It's a really common one. So maybe it's, you know, you're feeling a little bit overweight. Maybe you feel like you're a bit bloated after the summer. So what is it? Where are you today? What are your pain points, we call them? What is motivating you to come on this today and to try and sort of make changes? So I think this is a really good time to kind of focus on that and get really sort of motivated and get that mindset really sorted. So normally, and you know, if we had longer, I would let you, I'd take 5 minutes, let you guys fill this in, but obviously bit of a rush today, we've got lots to cover, but do fill that in, because I think it's that first step of knowing where you are today is really, really important. And then a little bit self-explanatory, but page 2, you've got me in 6 months' time if I don't change. And this is also really, really important, because this is going to remind you what is going to happen if you don't make any changes. And maybe things will be worse. Maybe your weight would have gone up. Maybe your pain will be worse. Maybe you would have, you know, your relationship would have broken down because, you know, you're at the end of your tether, you've got no energy, you're miserable. Maybe you know, maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to be struggling so much worse with my menopause. Maybe I'll be struggling so much worse. So what if you don't make any changes now, where are you going to be? Maybe you've been told by the doctor that your cholesterol is starting to creep up and you've got to watch it. So if you don't make any changes in 6 months' time, your cholesterol is going to be up and they're going to be saying, here's some statins for you, or whatever it may be. So what would happen if you don't make any changes? And this is, again, really helpful, because it's creating this reinforcement, this picture in your mind. So that will give you a really good guidance as to why you're doing what you're doing. And then we have the happy avatar. This is you in 6 months' time if you do make the changes. And this is also really important. This is going to show us what is achievable, and so much is achievable. So, you know, this is really important. You know, maybe you would have found your energy better. You know, you've got more energy during the course of the day, and therefore you're able to start that course you wanted to do. Or maybe you find that you're getting a bit more motivation to make some nice dishes in the kitchen, and then your cooking's better and you're having lovely family meals as a result of being able to make make better food and enjoy that time. Maybe your symptoms will be better. Maybe you'll go to the doctor and have that blood test, and the doctor will say, oh my goodness, that's amazing, you're fine now, there's nothing to worry about, no need, you know. So there's lots of different things, and it's really going to depend on where you are and what your journey is. But I think, you know, understanding what is achievable is really important, because this is what you want to be focusing on, rather than focusing on the negative. Oh, I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to achieve that. Focus on where you're going to be, and that will keep you going. That is going to be the positive mindset, that energy that you want to be putting out and getting back, that is going to get you the results. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Anyone? Are you all drawing your avatars? I want to see pictures on Facebook. Okay, because they are fun, and it's amazing, because also if you look at each other, you'll see, oh, that's a good one, I'm going to put that one down, and it just, you really start to sort of get a feel. Like, I think also sometimes we feel like we're on our own, like nobody gets it and nobody feels the same way that we do, but actually there is a lot of common things that we all share as well. So I think being open and sharing that in the group is what creates that community and that support and that energy, and that is what is going to get you much closer to the result and much quicker. Right, so that is a little bit on sort of the avatar. And then the second part of the workbook for today is looking at positive and negative boundaries. So I love this concept. I kind of made it up, but it works. So positive and negative boundaries. These are important because we need to have boundaries in our life for everything, right? And I think a lot of us have boundaries with certain things. If, you know, it's obvious things like if you're standing in a queue with strangers, your personal space boundary is very important, you know, or if somebody is rude to you, that boundary is there to say, oh, I'm not going to take that, I'm not going to let you be rude to me. But we're not very good at putting those boundaries in place for our own well-being, because we almost feel a bit selfish doing it. We feel a little bit, you know, we're so used, particularly as women, to giving. You know, we're always, you know, the one providing. We've got, you know, partners, parents, children, work colleagues, friends, and we give, and then there's almost like this guilt for looking internally and protecting ourselves and putting those boundaries up when it comes to our self-care. But I think they are really, really important, and they're not selfish, and people respect that. And I think that by having these boundaries, you start to create this framework for yourself of how you want to, you know, proceed to have sort of this healthier wellness lifestyle. You need to have these boundaries in place, and they need to be there to protect you and to protect your goal. So thinking about the avatars that you would have completed in the first part of the workbook, and looking at where you are now and where you want to be and the change that you want to see, you then want to think about the boundaries that you're going to put in place with yourself. It's almost like a contract with yourself, what you're going to do to protect yourself and to help yourself get to that place in 6 months' time. So what you want to be thinking about is your boundaries in terms of negative and positive boundaries. So what I mean by that is that negative boundaries are saying, I will not do this. I will not allow this, you know, this thing to happen. So I mean, examples I put in the workbook are things like, I won't allow people to dictate what I eat or when I eat. So by that, I'm saying, you know, just because it might be lunchtime, if you're not necessarily hungry and you want to have lunch an hour later, that's okay. Or if you're out for dinner with friends and they're all ordering the fish and chips and you want to have the salad for whatever reason, not that you have to have salad, that's not part of Eat Better Feel Better, but it's an example. You know, don't feel like you have to kind of succumb to the peer pressure of being around everybody else. You know, you follow your journey, that's your boundary. I'm not going to allow people to kind of influence me and what I want to put into my body and what I want to feed myself. Another negative boundary is that I put on here is I won't eat after 8 p.m. So that comes into like the Eat Better Feel Better framework of like intermittent fasting, which I'll talk about a bit more when we talk about routine and breakfast. But it's another example, you know, I won't eat after 8 o'clock. It's the negative boundary because you're saying I won't do it, but it's there to protect you. It's there to keep you, you know, focused on that end goal. And I find actually that's a really good negative boundary, because I find when I enforce that with myself, after 8 p.m, I've had my dinner, I've eaten well all day. I don't need to sit on the sofa and eat biscuits and crisps and chocolate and cake and whatever it is. I'm not hungry. I don't need it. I don't want it. Even if it's, you know, something healthier, it's just like, I don't need it. And I want my body to have a chance to get into rest and digest before I go to bed at night and things like that. So when I bring that boundary in and I enforce it, that I'm not going to eat after 8 o'clock. It helps me to follow that whole pattern through, and then that follows through to the next day, and it just, the cycle continues. You're balancing your blood sugar, you're feeling in control, everything is sort of flowing really well. So those are your negative boundaries. Can anyone think of a negative boundary that they would write for themselves? Maybe share it on the chat. I'm trying to think of other examples that I've had from clients before. I won't eat fried food more than twice a week, you know, something like that. Or I won't skip my Monday morning Pilates class because I love it. You know, that's like a negative boundary. So there's all different boundaries there, but they can be really really helpful. But then you've also got what I call the positive boundaries. So they're things that you will do for yourself, that you are committing to doing for yourself. So they might be things like, where am I examples in here? I will have 7 portions of vegetables a day because I want to make sure I'm getting enough nutrients. So it doesn't matter what else you've eaten all day, you are going to make sure, regardless of what else you've eaten, you're getting all your portions of vegetables in. Or maybe it'll be, I will go to the gym 3 times a week. I will make that commitment to myself. I enjoy it. That's what I want to do. And you put those 3 appointments in your diary, and they're not flexible. You know, they're there for you. You put them in to protect yourself, to help yourself get to your goals, and they're not flexible. That's one of your positive boundaries. Another positive boundary, I will set time in my diary to meal plan. And we're going to talk about meal planning on Thursday. I've got like the quick attacks of how to meal plan quickly and easily without making it complicated. But, you know, maybe you'll say, I will take that time twice a week to plan some meals, to think about my diary, to think about where I am in my week and what food I'm going to need, so that I am organized and therefore can make those healthier decisions. You know, very often clients will say to me, oh, I've come home, you know, there's nothing in the fridge, I don't know what to make for dinner, I'm just going to have to get a takeaway. But actually, they always knew they were going to be home late that day, and they always knew they had nothing in the fridge. And if they sat down for 5 minutes a couple of days previously and worked that out, they could have had a plan in place. So they could have come home and had something, you know, might have been sort of, you know, some eggs and avocado. It doesn't have to be something complicated to cook, but they could have had it in and been organized. So, you know, that's where meal planning can be really helpful without being overwhelming. It actually can take the overwhelm away. So have a think about what your positive and negative boundaries are. And then there is space in the workbook to write your positive. Maybe you can see that on the light, but there's space in the workbook to write your positive and your negative boundaries. I've given you the option to write 2 for each. Obviously, you can write 3 if you want. I wouldn't write too many, because then I think it gets a bit too overwhelming. But you know, maybe start with 2 for each or 1 for each, and gradually, as you go through this week, as you go through this process, maybe you'll add more, and you might actually already have some negative and positive boundaries that you already live by, but you don't actually think of them in that way. But actually, when you think about it, you're like, oh, well, I never do that, or I only do this. And those are your boundaries. But actually getting that clarity on them is really, really helpful. So again, you know, if you do that, why not share one of your boundaries on the Facebook group and let us know what one of your boundaries are, or one of your positive and one of your negative, and I will share mine on there as well. So I will do my avatar and I will do my boundaries, and I will put them on the Facebook group for you later as well. I'm going to move on to, I can see the chat's going, which is lovely. I love that. Thank you. I am going to sit and read them all properly. I'm just aware of the time, and I want to talk about breakfast as well. Does anyone have a question, though, before I move on to breakfast, about those couple of parts of mindset? No, I'm just reading the chat, but I can see, I don't think there's any question. Okay, great. If there are, Jo will pick them up and let me know. Okay, so now I want to talk about breakfast. Where's my thing on that first? So breakfast is really important, and I like talking about breakfast first, because when I want to help clients to make those changes, I always say start with breakfast. It's the first meal of the day, and actually, if you get breakfast right, the rest of the day tends to flow really well. And I think for some reason breakfast seems to be one that clients really struggle with. You know, I think a lot of us have an idea of a healthy lunch or a healthy dinner, but breakfast kind of gets a bit lost in the mix, and then it's, you know, we either have the quick fixes, or we skip breakfast completely and then by 11 o'clock we're starving hungry. There's all different reasons, but for some reason breakfast is a bit of a roadblock for some people. So I do want to talk about breakfast first. And what I want to say about breakfast is a couple of things. First of all, I want to talk about timing. I touched a little bit earlier when I was talking about mindset about intermittent fasting. As women with our hormones, we have to be quite careful with the intermittent fasting. We don't want to fast for too long because that can then spike our cortisol and put the body into stress. But a little bit of a gap between dinner and breakfast is really helpful because it gets the body into rest and digest mode. It gives the body time to get ready to go to sleep. It helps improve sleep. It helps improve our blood sugar balance. It helps improve inflammation. So I would say try and have your breakfast in terms of timing. Try to have it at least 12 hours and no more than 14 hours after your dinner. So a 12 to 14 hour window between dinner and breakfast is kind of where you want to be. I find with a lot of women, sort of perimenopause and menopause, once we go into like 15, 16 hours, that can really put a stress on the body. It can really spike the cortisol. Obviously, everybody's different. Some women will find that longer fasts work very well for them. But I think in general, 12 to 14 hours is going to get you the results that you're looking for. You don't need to, make it any more stressful than that. And for some people, some of you, doing the 12 to 14 hours at first, it might be a struggle because you might be somebody that's on a little bit of a sugar high, sugar low over the course of the day. You might be somebody that does, like a bit of nosh in the evening when they're watching TV and might have a couple of biscuits and a cup of tea with the sugar in it at sort of 10 o'clock at night. And then by 6:30 the next morning when the alarm goes off, you're starving hungry because the blood sugar has been all over the place. And so you might find that 12 to 14 hour fasting window is really hard for you in the beginning. So don't worry, just take it slowly. It will come. If you follow the rest of the framework that we're going to talk about over the course of the week, that will get easier. So don't stress yourself out trying to like go cold turkey and do it all the first night. If it's not something that you're kind of already almost doing, then just take it slowly and just work through it. You'll find that the snacking and the hunger in the evening gets better because the meals are better in the day, and then you can bring in that longer fast. So don't worry about not being, if you can't do it straight away, it's not meant to be a challenge. It's meant to just be sort of natural that you're not hungry necessarily before that time. So that's breakfast timing. I would say around 12 to 14 hours after your meal the night before. Culturally in this country, for some reason, and in America, we like having sweet breakfast, a lot. It's very natural to go, even when we think we're having something healthy, like some muesli or granola. If you actually look on the back of the pack, there's a lot more sugar and sweeteners in there than we realize. We think it's healthy and it's not. So where other cultures, particularly like in the blue zones where there's, really healthy aging and longevity, breakfast isn't a sugary breakfast. They tend to almost eat what they eat lunch and dinner. It's the same sorts of food. So it's still going to be like vegetables, proteins, fats, things like that. I still can't get my head around necessarily having, vegetables like salad for breakfast or whatever. But I always do make sure that my breakfast is not high in sugar and it's got plenty of protein in that is going to keep me going for the rest of the day. And protein is really important. We'll talk more about protein as well in the week, I'm sure. But the key point for breakfast is you want to get that protein in first thing in the morning because you want to be able to rebuild the muscles from, being resting all night. The body's gone into rest and digest. Everything's all nice and ready for the day. And now you want to give it all the building blocks it needs to function for the rest of the day. So getting that protein in early is really good. Also, as we start to get older, our need for carbohydrate come down and our need for protein goes up, and we want to be able to maintain our muscle mass. Muscle mass is a key indicator of healthy aging. We want to make sure we're maintaining that muscle mass, and most of us don't get enough protein over the course of the day. Very often with clients, I find that the first decent, proper, good quality protein they've had is with their dinner because they've had, some cereal or a yogurt for breakfast, and they've had, cheese sandwich for lunch. And then by the time they sit down to their dinner and they might have, like chicken breast or salmon or whatever, that's the first proper protein they've had of the day, really. That's not enough. We need to be having protein all during the course of the day. So make sure your breakfast has some protein in it. I have given in the recipe book some examples of some different breakfasts. My go-to, if you follow me on any of my social media or you're one of my members, you will know that my go-to breakfast is my protein shake. I have it every morning because it takes me 2 minutes to make. I don't have to think about it. I have all the stuff in, boom, boom, boom. And if I'm running out the door, I can take it with me. I can, I could be sitting here drinking it. It's not a problem. It's just quick and easy. Not everybody likes them. You don't have to do a protein shake, but definitely make sure you're getting that protein. So maybe it will be some yogurt, maybe with a little bit of protein powder mixed in. Have the Greek yogurt, it's higher in protein. Add some nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds and nuts have got protein in them. Put some oats in for protein. So all of that's going to help. Having some eggs, maybe have a couple of eggs for breakfast, having some like smoked salmon, whatever. If you trying to get that protein in, it's just going to mean that you can then go through till lunch without needing to snack. People that tend to have like the sugary breakfast, by 2 hours later they're crashing again and they're looking for that next the cup of coffee or the biscuit to keep them going till lunch. But if you're having the right breakfast, you will definitely be able to go from sort of 9, 10, whatever time you've had your breakfast, to 12, 1, 1:30 for your lunch. Fine, you won't need to be snacking. And again, if you're someone that does like to snack all day and is a grazer and a bit of a sugar addict, again, that will take you a little bit of time. You might have your high protein breakfast and still want that snack, mid-morning for a little while, because your body's got to adjust and your blood sugar's got to recalibrate, but you will get there. So just persevere with it and do it. But again, the breakfasts are in the recipe collection, and I will share some more breakfasts in the Facebook group as well. And please, if you've got a breakfast that you maybe overnight oats, maybe you've made some of those. They sound really complicated and really like healthy and like nerdy, but actually they take 2 seconds to make. So overnight oats is a good one. Sometimes I make little egg muffins and I have them in the fridge, and I can just grab those if I want for something different. So there's lots of options for breakfast. So if you've got a good high protein breakfast, then do share it and let us know, because that's always really good to get different ideas and to see what everyone's having. We all like to know what everyone else is eating. I don't know who that is. It said iPad, but you make a protein shake with oat. Yeah, brilliant. So exactly. And I bet that keeps you full and keeps you going all the way through to lunch. So I think it's gone 12:30. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover today. If you've got any questions, please share them. But just have a think about, do the avatars and think about where you are now, where you want to be. Share them on the Facebook group. Think about your boundaries, because we're going to use those tomorrow, I think it is, when we do our routine and we create that framework for our daily routine. These boundaries are going to help you to do that. So if you can work through it as we're going, then it's going to keep everything flowing quite nicely. So try and do your positive and negative boundaries this afternoon and share them again on the Facebook group, and have those ready for tomorrow when we're looking at the routine. Have a think about breakfast, have a look at the recipes and see what you think of those. Have a think about, maybe try and write down 2 or 3 breakfasts that would work for you, that you enjoy, that would give you some protein and not be high in sugar. And again, share them on the group. Let us know what your breakfasts are, and I will give you some feedback on them, and I'll give you some little tweaks. If you put something on there and I might say, oh, you could swap that for that, and it would just give it a little bit of an upgrade. So there's always little changes that we can make, or if you've got like this great go-to breakfast, it would be nice to share. And if I see any that I fancy, I might try it tomorrow and share it and copy. So I hope that this has been a good first session and you've enjoyed the first live for the reset, and I really look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. I look forward to seeing your avatars and your boundaries and your breakfasts on the Facebook group. Do share them, because I do want to give out the prizes, and I'm looking forward to doing that on Friday and looking forward to having everybody's feedback. So I can't wait to see all your comments on the Facebook group. If you do have any questions, again, post them on the group. If there was something I said that you didn't understand or something you want clarification on, if you didn't get it, somebody else wouldn't have got it. Somebody else will have the same question. So ask the question on the group first, and me or Joe will endeavour to answer it for you. Obviously, if there's something particularly like private, then you're welcome to private message me always. But it'd be lovely to sort of get the chat going on the group. So do try and use the Facebook group where you can. I think you've all joined the Facebook group now, but if you haven't and you need the link, then ask on here for the link and Joe will send you the link. I think that is it. So please go and have a lovely lunch. Try and get a walk outside because the rain looks like it's holding off. So go and get some fresh air if you can, because a lovely 10-minute walk is gonna, that's great for mindset, great for mental well-being, and great, for health as well. So it'd be lovely to go and have a good lunch, have a nice walk, enjoy your afternoon, share on the Facebook group, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. So bye everybody. Thank you.